is SportsCenter.
Hey there, what's happening? Thanks so much. This is SportsCenter on a Friday night. Nabil, I'm Michael. So the Yankees came into Friday night, Nabil, on the brink of losing an American League Championship Series for the fourth straight time. That may still happen, but it won't happen in New York.
Yeah, and it's funny because we throw out the term must-win situation all the time. This was actually a must-win situation, and you go up against Justin Verlander. Who is Justin Verlander? Although in his last two contests in the postseason, he hasn't been all that great. So maybe there was a chance. Game 5 ALCS, top of the first scoreless, no-out George Springer. Hitting a grounder past James Paxton here. Gleyber Torres can't make the play. And remember, Torres is coming off that Game 4, had a couple errors. Looking a little shaky there. Springer safe at first. Later in the inning, runners on the corners, one out. Paxton pitching against gets it past Gary Sanchez, I should say. Springer's going to score. Astros up 1-0 on that wild pitch. Not the start New York wanted. However, bottom of the first. This is how you respond. DJ LeMahieu, he had 2 errors of his own in Game 4. And he helps out his team right there. Second pitch he sees from Verlander. That's a solo shot. Game tied at 1. Second time Verlander has allowed a leadoff home run in his 28 career postseason start. This one tied at 1. Next batter, you got Aaron Judge. What does Judge got? He's got a base hit in him. So we got 1 on, no outs. The next batter, you got Torres, who has been so good this postseason. And he continues to tear it up with the bat. Judge stopping at third here, so you got runners on second and third. New York's got something going here, building up some momentum. A huge moment for Giancarlo Stanton. He cannot take advantage, so we got 1 out. Yankees hitless in their last 15 at-bats with runners in scoring position. That's the longest streak all season. Somebody's got to come up clutch. Aaron Hicks, he's the guy. Full count, and that's a 3-run shot of Verlander to right field. It's the first time the Yankees have hit multiple first-inning home runs in the same postseason game in franchise history. It's also the first time Justin Verlander has allowed 4 runs in a game, regular season or playoffs, for the first time since 2014. How about Paxton? Let's check back in on him. He was solid. Big Maple getting it done. Through 5 innings pitched, 4 hits, 1 earned run, 3 walks, 8 strikeouts on 97 pitches. Top of the 6th, still in for the Yankees. They're up 4-1. He's going to strike out Yordan Alvarez. So we got 2 outs. Aaron Boone coming to check on him. Paxton, he wants to stay in. Boone's like, all right. Crowd going nuts. Robinson Chirinos up to bat for the Astros. First pitch he sees, oh my goodness. The drama here, because you're like, Aaron Boone kept him in. But you know what? Looked like it was a good decision. Close, but Paxton getting out of the inning, allowing 4 hits, 1 run, 9 strikeouts, 112 pitches, the highest pitch count of the season for him. Top of 7th, Alex Bregman. Got runners on the corners, but he is going to fly out. The Yankees cutting the series deficit to 3-2. Here's Buster Olney with a couple stars from the game.
So when Aaron Boone comes out in the 6th inning, he takes the walk out. What did you expect about whether or not he was going to take you out?
I didn't know. I was kind of looking at him. He didn't make the call on the way out, and I know when he comes out like that, he's going to give me a chance. And I told him I wanted the ball, wanted to go. When that ball went up in the air, I was like, "Oh man, please stay in," and it did. And it was awesome, great feeling.
How did you guys get through this? How do you feel moving forward?
We feel great. You know, we're definitely in a tough spot here, but we're ready to go to Houston and give them all we got and battle this thing to the end.
Aaron, tough loss last night. You come into this game down 3-1, Verlander on the mound. How did you guys refocus?
I mean, it's the next game. I mean, it's win now kind of situation. So, you know, we wanted to get ahead early. We wanted to take the first punch, and, you know, we kind of did it in a big way.
You hit the ball down the line against Verlander, 2 runners on base. Walk us through what you saw.
I mean, I feel like I hit it well. I mean, I know I hit it well. It had a lot more curve than I thought I did. Than I thought, but you know, I was able to stay fair and you know, put us up.
How do you feel about where you guys stand now?
Oh, I love it. I mean, we just won at home. Now we're headed to Houston, and you know, we're ready for 2 more games there and win there, and you know, go to where we want to go.
So Justin Verlander has had 5 opportunities in the postseason to close out a series in his career. The first 2 went real well. However, the last 3 not so well. and that includes twice this postseason. Verlander getting hit hard in that first inning, and his team could not recover. So we got a series, which means the Baseball Tonight guys, they got to work on Saturday. Let's go to John Brickley.
Gentlemen, thank you so much. Yes, there is a game on Saturday, game number 6 of the ALCS. And the Yankees right now, objective number 1 of this 3-day plan to try to get to the World Series accomplished. John Brickley, Tim Kurkjian, and Doug Glanville. There's a lot of storylines to dive into. Justin Verlander getting beat up early in that first inning against the Yankees bats. But, Doug, the Yankees don't get to this point. They don't get to a game number 6 if they don't get that type of performance from James Paxton.
Yeah, I mean, Paxton struggled earlier. He only went 2 in the 3rd innings in his previous outing. Didn't have a lot of confidence in him, but he was able to get over that hump. The first inning, his struggles with his command, he was able to rebound and make some big pitches. So that's absolutely what the Yankees needed. They needed to go deeper in the game to preserve that bullpen, which has really carried them for the most part in terms of the pitching side.
Right, so that's the biggest start of his life, and he really responded with 9 strikeouts, 112 pitches. That's the most thrown by any Yankee pitcher this year, and he's the first Yankee pitcher in this postseason to throw 100 pitches in a game.
9 strikeouts over the 6 innings, gave up the 1 earned run, tied for the 3rd most strikeouts when facing elimination in Yankees postseason history. And this was the James Paxton that we saw during the regular season be able to dominate, again, like we saw tonight against the Astros.
Right, and we can't forget that he won 10 consecutive starts, basically, to finish the regular season. He was really, really good. This is also the 11th time he's faced the same opponent in consecutive starts in his career. And in those 11 starts, he's 9-1, which suggests that he learns from the first time around, makes an adjustment, and that's what he did in this start.
And also remember, Tanaka was the guy. He was supposed to be the ace. He's had this legacy of success in the postseason, and he struggled. And Paxton was able to respond. That's a big backup right there, where Paxton said, okay, give me the ball. And there was that moment where Boone went out there to get him. He's like, no, I'm keeping this ball. So that's a defining moment. And all of a sudden, the pitching staff can really feed off of that.
There was a great deal of confidence by Aaron Boone, who spoke afterwards on that very moment in the 6th inning when he stuck with Paxton on the mound.
Frankly, I was up in the air walking out there. I liked the matchup and how he was attacking Chirinos. The last thing I wanted him to do was throw it down in a heater, which was a mistake that almost got him. But I felt like I just wanted to kind of get a look at Gary and at Pax to see, have a feel that he had a little bit left, because obviously, we were pushing him pretty far right there. But I felt like if he could execute, we liked the matchup there, and he missed a spot and fortunately got away from it. But I thought James was great today. He came in with just an edge and a focus, and that first inning, which was work for him, he kind of whiffs on the Springer ball where he gets the soft contact infield hit, and now all of a sudden they kind of piece together a run there, and it's like first 2 innings he's deep into the pitch count, but he just kept going and felt like he got better as the night went on.
And second of all, James Paxton, who threw over 50 pitches in those first 2 innings, that's been his MO. He's had issues in the first inning, clearly was able to dominate the rest of the way. Justin Verlander came into the start, everyone thought game over with Verlander on the mound, Tim, and it was a situation where DJ LeMahieu got to him early, and then after that the wheels fell off, and it really fell apart with Aaron Hicks with a 3-run home run.
Right, and that was the first hit by a Yankee with a runner in scoring position. They had gone 0 for 15, and to see Justin Verlander give up 4 runs in an inning, we just haven't seen that, not in the first inning since 2014. He hasn't done it in any inning since 2017, since he joined the Astros, but he gave up 41 home runs this year, counting the playoffs, and he gave up a couple more tonight. And Doug, this is amazing. First time the Yankees have ever hit 2 home runs in the first inning of a postseason game ever. That's amazing.
I mean, and it was really about location. The first inning, he was almost amped up to the point where his location failed him. Up in the zone, didn't get his strikes, command was off, and then when he had to go in the zone, he had to work the heart of the plate. And the Yankees were just waiting for him, but after that, he only gave up 1 hit for the next 6 innings. Too little, too late.
And according to Elias, allowing 4 runs in the first inning, and he still pitched 7 innings, joining Oil Can Boyd in the 1986 World Series with the Red Sox, and Cy Young in the World Series in 1903, spoke afterwards on his performance.
it was a combination of things. Fastball command wasn't very good, and slider was just hanging. I just wasn't able to execute really anything. Thought I could have made some better pitches, had my opportunities, was able to get the strikeout, and then had Hicks in the hole, and just wasn't able to execute really anything. Got ahead of him early and had opportunities to get a strikeout or get a weak fly ball, and just let him right back in the count and hung him a slider 3-2.
Yeah, he was incredible after the first. They felt really good about going into the bottom of the first. We'd put up a run, and then we were just barely a few feet away from putting up a second run with Bregman's bullet to left field, and then we go into the bottom of the first. LeMahieu took a couple big swings, hits the homer, and woke up the building. And Judge hit a pitch he hasn't pulled hardly at all this season for the bullet base hit, and then Torres did what Torres has been doing this series, which is pretty good at bat. Snuck a ball inside the line, and then Hicks had a really good at bat and a mistake slider for a homer off the foul pole 315 feet away. So I thought he recovered great and did his best to continue to keep us in the game, because that was a great recovery after an inning that looked like it was spiraling away from him. Just the two balls that they hit were unfortunately went out of the ballpark.
It is remarkable to think that after that home run to Hicks, Verlander was able to set down 20 of 21 batters that he faced. Doug, the first inning was the big issue. It started with LeMahieu, and then what did you see in that at-bat versus Aaron Hicks? Well,
You saw Verlander, all the things that were falling apart from him in the first kind of came together. He got ahead. He had the count to his advantage, and you're thinking, okay, he has a whole repertoire to go to. He has multiple pitches that are plus command. And all of a sudden, once he gets ahead, you see the first pitch, nice two sliders there, gets away, and now the command fails him. The fastball up, he's trying to get him to chase, he's not even close. So those are non-competitive pitches. They're not having any effect, and then he has to hang the slider, and that third time he put it over the heart of the plate, Hicks buried it. So, that was Verlander's night, certainly in the first. Up in the zone, fastball command, and he couldn't set up those secondary pitches because his location was not there.
First time in Verlander's postseason career, he has given up 2 home runs in an inning. And when you see that transition from what we saw with the struggles of the Yankees offense, Tim, in game number 4, we're seeing those same struggles in game number 5 for the Astros.
Right. The Astros with runners in scoring position in this series are 4 for 39. That's a 103 average. Yordan Alvarez is really struggling. Alex Bregman has no RBIs in this series. And even though they are a great offensive team, they have not been a great offensive team for the most part in the series. And look at these averages. 81, 098 for the Dodgers. 103 is pretty low.
Take a look at the bottom third of the Astros lineup in this game 5. 1 for 12 with 7 strikeouts. What has been the issue, Doug, from your perspective, as to why this Astros team is struggling?
Well, the Yankees have executed. Their bullpen has done fairly well. But one thing that they got away with early is that they're a contact team. They were last in baseball in strikeouts, so they put the ball in play. Early in the series, they put it in play, and the Yankees made defensive mistakes. So they're able to still manufacture run. In this game, the runners in scoring position scenario in the bottom of the lineup were striking out. They had 12 strikeouts in this game, which is very uncharacteristic of the Houston Astros. So if you don't put it in play, you don't put on pressure, and those strikeouts started to add up, and that's how they were able to close it out. So that's where the Astros got away with their general strength that they have during the season, the fact that they make good contact.
And that's a pretty good threesome they saw tonight when you got Paxton and then Britton and then Chapman, all with sensational stuff.
You take a look at the numbers, too. Average 5 runs per game in the 3 wins the Astros have, 1 combined run in the 2 losses so far. So the question is now, we go into Game 6. What will it be for both managers, Aaron Boone, A.J. Hinch, both talking about what the philosophy will be going into Saturday's game number 6?
A.J., do you know yet who you'll start in Game 6 or how you handle the pitching situation?
No. We'll talk about it on the plane ride home.
No, Sevy's set for Game 7. Tomorrow, we'll just figure it out. We'll kind of talk about it tonight on the plane, which way we want to go, but it'll probably be a little bit of everyone.
All right, so more than likely we're going to see a battle of the bullpens in game number 6. And over the last 40 years, who have won games 6 and 7 on the road. Doug, I'm sorry to bring up 2003. Yankees have been in this situation before, up 3-0 on the Red Sox, and we saw this situation break down just a couple years ago in the World Series with the Cubs and the Indians.
Well, you know, you think about it, you feel comfortable. You're asking, okay, we're up 3-1, we're playing on the road, but then we go home and we have Cole set up. But we were, in 03, we were in a situation where we had Pryor and Wood, 2 aces. So Yankees are an uphill climb, but they're finding a way to execute. They got to beat the best in baseball, and that's what it's all about.
Right, and you still have to feel pretty good if you're an Astro player or fan. They're 60-21 at home. They're going home for 2 games. They've got the most dominant pitcher in the game going in Game 7 on full rest, but they would love to get this over with in Game 6, of course, so they can keep Garrett Cole to start Game 1 of the World Series on full rest.
Do we expect what we saw from the Yankees in Game number 5 to translate, Doug, into Game number 6, that we could see potentially a Game 7 between these two?
Well, the translation is that they were able to preserve their bullpen. So really everybody is available. And it's interesting these days, now Game 6, you can talk about, well, we don't even know who we're pitching because it's a total mix and match. And that's the game today. It's all about getting the matchups, and they're going to literally go pitch by pitch.
I grew up in a time when the Orioles had 4 20-game winners. Now we don't even know who's going to pitch Game 6 in this American League Championship Series.
It is 2019 baseball at its best, a battle of bullpens. We will have much more coverage coming up on Baseball Tonight, midnight Eastern on ESPN2. For now, we send it back to Michael Eaves.
All right, guys, thanks so much. Yeah, coming up midnight over on ESPN. Have more from Yankee Stadium, how they were able to get this victory and take it to Houston for Game 6. Buster Olney is there. He will join us coming up a little bit later. And also the plan for the Pelicans moving forward without Zion for some time. How long will that be? That's a huge question mark down in New Orleans. And Daniel Cormier, he will join us as well. Could a new challenger be in line to face John Jones? That's all coming up a little bit later tonight. SportsCenter over on ESPN. Now, there is a bit of history that was made tonight in the bill, and I think this would mean a lot to you personally.
Yes.
James Paxton, 9 strikeouts, most by a Canadian-born pitcher in Major League postseason history.
I appreciate that. The Big Maple, man.
I'm saying.
I was a little more excited reading that highlight when James Paxton was in that. I don't care who wins this series, but
Yes.
I want the Yankees to win Game 6. I love Game 7.
Game 7s always matter. We'll see what happens. Midnight, you'll see us again on ESPN.